Silver and gold had sideways weeks, with gold spot price threatening the $1,300 an ounce spot price mark multiple times since our last Metals and Markets podcast. Gold spot price is closing the week slightly up at $1,290 per troy ounce, while silver looks to be closing around $15.66 per troy ounce in US dollars. In industry-related news this week, the bankruptcy proceedings of Republic Metals Corporation continue, as Reuters reported that the world's largest gold refiner, Valcambi of Switzerland, put in a bid of 16 million Federal Reserve notes to acquire the now mothballed Miami, Florida, 150,000 square foot precious metal refinery site. I'll leave a link to this week's SilverDoctors coverage on this ongoing industry-related story in the show notes. If you visit that link, keep an eye out in the comments section for a short, tongue-in-cheek video made by this week's guest in response to this ongoing fire sale of Republic Metals' remaining assets. If you've been using YouTube over the years to consume precious metal related content, chances are you know that there is a robust stacker community of YouTube channels covering everything from product unboxing videos to sale offers to market related coverage. This week's guest is one such YouTube channel operator. He goes by the moniker SalivateMetal, and his channel has been a good balanced source for precious metals related content over the last 5 years. Stay tuned, as we'll be speaking with Sal right after these brief messages from our sponsor. SDBullion.com is a high-volume physical gold, silver, and precious metal dealer. Founded in March 2012 with the goal of providing the lowest cost bullion available, SD Bullion has become one of the largest US-based precious metal dealers and is regularly recognized by Inc. magazine as one of America's fastest growing companies. At SDBullion.com, you can order your guaranteed physical precious metal bullion products online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Discreet, low-cost delivery is both fast and always fully insured. We are committed to being your trusted source for low-cost, highest quality, investment-grade bullion products. Visit SDBullion.com for more information. Welcome to this week's Metals and Markets Wrap. I'm your host, James Anderson of SD Bullion. With us this week, we have a new guest. He is Sal. He's a big name in the YouTube community. His channel has now amassed over 5.5 million views on his precious metal related videos, and he has over 18,000 subscribers. Now, I've been watching Sal for years, and I really do enjoy his videos. They are usually pretty fun and lighthearted and enjoyable. So, Sal from SalivateMetal, thanks for coming on the show.
Mr. Anderson, I want to thank you so much for having me, sir.
Very nice. So Sal, this is our first time ever speaking. I think we've gone back and forth a whole bunch over the years in comment sections, etc. But it's nice to finally put a chance to get to talk to you straight up.
Yes, sir. It's a good talk to you too as well. Yes, indeed.
So I was looking at your channel. It looked like you started it in 2013, and I saw your oldest video first when I went to your channel the day before this interview, and it's definitely come a long way. You put some production value into your videos over the years, and some of the topics you tackle now are much larger than just, hey, I got an order from this company or that company. It's more of, this is what's happening in the industry, and check this out and check this out. It's some pretty good stuff. I mean, you're basically, I would say, a vlogger, essentially. You're a video blogger in the industry of precious metals. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, sir. And that first video is a bit embarrassing. But looking back, but you know what? Everything comes full circle. I just did another somewhat embarrassing unboxing just before this interview. I just posted on my YouTube channel where I struggle with a package and I unbox silver. So sometimes you got to go back to the basics. And back when I started, it was unboxings were kind of all the rage, so to speak. And some channels have kind of given up doing that, but I still kind of do it from time to time. But I do like to have fun, but I do also like to tackle some serious subjects and kind of just peruse the surface and of analysis. There's a lot of analysis that can be done very technically, and I don't tend to get into that, but but I sort of have broadened the horizons. But I certainly appreciate you checking out the original video. I'm a little bit red of embarrassment.
No, I've enjoyed it over the years. It's been fun, and I think I was looking at some of your largest view counts, and it seemed like some of the largest view count videos were pretty interesting topics. Like how can you stack silver on a budget, which it's garnered over 100,000 views because it's a subject that a lot of people probably have interest in. Probably got a lot of people in their algorithm, in their search algorithm, and I'm sure YouTube, if you YouTube search a lot gold and silver, that's going to start feeding you a lot of videos related to such matters. And so, I found that very interesting. What of all the videos, what's the highest viewed video that you have to date?
It would have to be the almost 100 ounces of gold video.
Mm-hmm.
And it's strange because nowadays it seems like showcasing bullion, gold and silver really isn't the trendy thing. It's usually to talk about them and analysis about them, but that still maintains my highest view count video, and I'm probably going to be updating that video soon with another release of the same nature. And that's a collection that is not mine, by the way. It's a friend of mine who has all that gold, and of course I get comments saying, "Oh yeah, that's not your gold." Yeah, right. But in reality, it isn't. But that one does have to maintain the highest view count for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. It's always, I guess, a wink, wink. People always think it's your gold, etc. That's pretty
Yeah.
funny. Why did you start? I mean, like, what was the impetus in 2013 really for you to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna YouTube broadcast this?
Well, for years, several years, starting probably back in 2008, having somewhat to do with the financial crisis that occurred back then, 2007, 2008, but not as closely related as some may think. But I started watching videos on YouTube on precious metals, and I had been accumulating them for quite a while before even the dot-com bubble of the 90s. I had accumulated precious metals. In fact, in those times, I would probably have considered myself somewhat of a stacker, even though that word was not really used. But in 2008, I just got curious and perused YouTube videos. There wasn't a whole lot out there, but I watched what I would perceive and categorize as the first generation of YouTube of the silver community on YouTube, silver and gold, but mainly silver. Um, and that's what people were talking about. And there was several guys. One was the Omega Man, who I watched on there, and he was actually a dealer from Australia. And back then, buying precious metals online was not as easy as it is now. There was this no $99 and you get free shipping type deal. Back then, you had to kind of either write a check or go through some process to get verification from the credit card or that type of thing. But I just watched and was curious. And so as silver started to go up in 2011, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then I started watching more and more people were talking about it. And there was what I call the second generation of the YouTube silver community. And it was those videos that I saw when people were starting to showcase more of their silver with unboxings and the like. And so I decided to start my own channel. And I guess it was January or February of 2013. I was probably one of the last of one of the final ones of the second generation of the silver YouTube community to get involved, and so that's where it all started.
When I think back to those days, like 2008, YouTube was such a small thing; it wasn't even really involved with the industry, and now it seems pretty heavily. I mean, there's hundreds of channels, it seems now, where people are doing this. Yours is one of the most prominent, I would say. Are there other channels out there that you look up to that you think are similar to yours or like-minded?
Yeah, I mean, the channels have kind of evolved, and I think a lot of them are kind of unique in their own way. I tend to not watch a lot of the analysis channels, the ones that do analysis, because I don't want to be influenced by their views or what have you. Whereas in the past, I would. I kind of developed my own views and kind of watch. But I would consider. I mean, I've watched Silverfish VT was a member. He was a member quite a while ago. He was one that kind of inspired me to sort of start my channel. And he was more of an encouragement type of silver channel, if that makes sense. But he would encourage people to be fiscally responsible and to stack and precious metals for your family and the like. And I think that, and then Big Stack McGee was another inspiration. But I would consider probably my channel now to be a cross between what Silver Fortune does, who has less subscribers than me, but gets far more views than I do with his analysis. And he doesn't really showcase any precious metals, but does analysis and the like. And then also you have Junius Maltby, who was also started around the same time I did. He was sort of an inspiration. And but I don't really watch those channels a whole lot now. I'll tune in from time to time, but right now I watch all the other channels that are either interact with me or subscribe to me, or I'm subscribed to them, which is a lot of newer channels. So the gamut is very wide on who I watch right now.
And over the years, that's since 2013. It's almost 5 years now you've been doing this.
Yeah.
What would you say is the big takeaway that you've gotten from it? I mean, there's probably a multitude of them, but what are some of the big things that come to the top of mind?
The biggest takeaway that's really just blown me away is how diverse the community is of gold and silver stackers and collectors and precious metals enthusiasts. And you get a wider range. We all have this common bond of precious metals, and you do have this warring faction at times, from the gold bugs to silver bugs, that type of thing. But I think that's the biggest thing. It's the wide variety of viewpoints. I'm on my channel. I like to entertain all different viewpoints, no matter what people think about certain subjects. And I like to engage the community. I'm not ashamed to express my viewpoints, but I'm surprised. I thought when I first got into this that everybody would be like either tinfoil hat, very conservative Alex Jones types, or some variant thereof, very conservative, very less government, and that type of thing. Somebody who would be considered almost libertarian in that mindset. And I found that to be partially the case, but there's a lot of people who are on the left side of the political spectrum as well that hold all kinds of viewpoints about a myriad of different subjects. It just so happens they enjoy silver. And some of them, by the way, accumulate silver and gold for some of the same reasons, just from a different point of view. So I found that kind of interesting and surprising.
I noticed in one of your recent videos that you were talking about you were making a concerted effort to try and stack more gold. What's the reasoning behind that?
Yes. Well, as probably even since I started the YouTube channel, you may have seen, like, that first video was a stack was some 1 ounce bars, I think 21 ounce bars or what have you, or 10 or something. And that would be considered a stacker's move, low premium silver. But those have been really pretty few and far between. I feel like, though, even from the collector type, high premium and even generic silver that I just enjoy for the designs, or some cases for the collectability of it, I almost feel like I just have enough silver. And even though that silver to gold ratio is so high, some people say, well, this is a good time to buy silver. But it's a matter of storage. It's a matter of getting to what I feel is a better personal gold to silver ratio. And if you ask me what that is, I couldn't tell you, because since I have collector pieces and they're kind of spread out in different locations and different packaging and the like, it's really tough to count. But well over, obviously, you probably may have seen another one of the popular videos, the Silver Tower video. Now that was there's two variants of that video, but the second variation was well over 1,200 ounces, which is not a whole lot. And I have more than that in collector silver. But for me and for my standing, that's kind of, I figured, it's time to accumulate a bit more gold.
Yeah. I get that. I think with silver being as low as it's been for so long, I think people start to think, I have a pretty good array of silver, I might want to start reallocating into some other precious metals, maybe gold or, I mean, even platinum at these prices seems pretty cheap.
Yes.
And obviously, I think there's some people out there who think palladium could go into a mania at any point.
And yeah, very well could. Yeah.
So you probably have a bunch of people out there who are getting a couple of those metals as opposed to silver, even at these prices.
And myself included, I've accumulated a bit more platinum, and bought that the palladium coin from the U.S. Mint, and have a couple of palladium pieces that I bought when it was $167 an ounce.
Wow, nice. So you've been obviously buying and stacking for decades now. Have you ever had a moment of time where you were just like, I need to sell this metal? Have you never sold any of it, or where do you stand on that?
Yeah, no, and that's because I consider myself probably pretty strongly in the collector category. Um, I'm holding in my hand right now a Route 66, icons of Route 66, little silver bar or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's very low premium. It's not worth. If I went to sell it at my local coin shop, I'd get spot for it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the big things that I think even hardcore stackers will eventually. I've seen it so many times. Hardcore stackers will eventually turn into a collector of some sort down the road. Now there are people who buy monster boxes or a whole stacks and stacks of a particular repeater, like Eagles or what have you, and they would sell that. I don't have that really. Most of my silver is a variety of different things. I have not that many Eagles. I don't have that many maple leafs. It's usually a variety of different things. So, and there's not enough of those stacks really to consider selling. I have thought about maybe trading some of it towards gold, but even as such, it's like, do I really want to do that? Maybe I should just save up and buy the gold.
Right. You were saying in that recent video about your buying gold, how much difficult discipline was required to just even amass that 1 ounce, I think, that you had shown in the video.
Yeah, it's tough. I tell you, I'm on.
If you wouldn't mind, describe the effort required to come up with the capital just to afford that 1 ounce.
Yeah, well, when you're on a middle class income with other expenses, I always tell my viewers some people say pay yourself first. Well, my feeling is pay your bills first. you know, with all the expenses that it takes to just survive, in society, and of course, and by some metrics, the U.S. dollar has lost about 11% of its value over the last couple of years by some measures.
Mm-hmm.
And with those kind of challenges, it's tough. It's a matter of setting money aside after your expenses and saying this money is going to go towards precious metals. Now, because I'm a collector, because I have somewhat of an emotional attachment to the metals that I buy, it's a little easier than somebody who is like, okay, this is what the experts are saying. I need to accumulate, 5 to 20% of my wealth in silver. I'm going to just buy Eagles and put them away. Don't care about them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just storing them. There's no emotional attachment. I think in a way for those people, it's tougher. But for me, when I get a gold coin and I pick it up and hold it in my hand, I'm getting it just as much because of the design and the feel of the gold in the hand, the holding it. And that's my reward. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah, it's a tangible reminder of the sacrifices that you made, something that you have in your hand that you can hold for as long as you wish, I suppose.
Right. Yes, indeed.
So, of all the engagements that you're having now, I mean, I would imagine your channel is still growing a lot.
It seems to have grown faster in the last year than it has before. But the 18,000 subscriber thing, I never make any videos about, I've reached 18,000 subscribers or I just passed this number, because to me, it's about the engagement with the community. And I would dare say that well over half of those subscribers either just don't watch anymore or they just abandon their YouTube accounts. And there could be some double accounts and things like that. Like I said, there's other channels like Silver Fortune who have several thousand less than I do. He gets a lot more views than I do. And there's other channels like Silver Slacker who does showcasings of amassing large amounts of silver. He gets a lot of engaged views from his viewers there, and it's probably a better representation with those two channels with the viewership. And to me, it's about viewership and about engaging with the community. I try my best to engage. I may not get as many views as some of those other channels, but I do pride myself on engaging with the community and showing sincere appreciation, hence my tagline, which is a multitude of gratitude.
Yeah, and speaking of your productions, when and how did you come up with the beginning where you had literally metal coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, well, there's two variations of that. It was my idea as a concept, but I had patsies do it for me. I make other people do my dirty work for me, James.
So you hired an actor to have metal drop out of his mouth?
He did it for nothing. I didn't have to pay him a dime, but I think I did give him a silver dime or something.
That's nice.
And the other guy that did it is another YouTube channel, and I don't know if he wants me to mention his name, but I think people have figured out who the other guy is. But I've since we've exchanged gifts over the years, and he's a good guy. Yeah, and some people were grossly disgusted by it, as well. So I've gotten both sides of the gamut on that. You can't please everybody with these things for sure.
Of course. So that one was memorable. Once I saw that, I was like, oh, this guy's channel's pretty unique.
Yeah. Well, and that's another reason too. The reason why I chose SalivateMetal was because even in 2013, I was seeing a lot of channels with the name silver in it. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to limit myself to just silver. I love silver. I mean, I've got a silver round with the name on it, and it celebrates silver. I even had a silver round with a soft kitty on it. So I mean, it's I love the metal, but I wanted to talk about more than just silver. In fact, I just finished a series this past December on why I love. It's a playlist, and it talks about all the different metals I love, running from silver to gold to platinum, palladium, copper, and other metals.
So,
and rhodium.
Oh, really? Rhodium. Have you bought much rhodium?
I've got 1 ounce, and you'll see it in that video. If you go back to that playlist, it's called "Why I Love Rhodium," and I actually posted a video about it when I first got the bar. When I think I paid $1,100 for it. That was when it was as low as I could see that I've ever seen it before. So it was up to $10,000 at one time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, rhodium has had times where it's exploded in price.
Yeah.
I think it's getting a little hot right now. I'm not sure. I haven't looked recently. Do you know what spot price is?
I think 2,300, something like that. I can check real quick here. Let's see. Oh, it's $2,450 is the ask price. $2,300 bid. There's a pretty wide spread between bid and ask for rhodium, and it typically is the case. Yeah,
that's pretty good. 1,100 to 24. Doubled your investment already in fiat currency.
If only I would have stuck to that, and then I could have had a big argument against the crypto people.
Yeah.
Not that I have anything against cryptocurrencies, but people who got in at the wrong time would have lost a lot of money in Bitcoin. And rhodium. I mean, the platinum metal group metals, I don't really consider them hedges, really, because they were discovered almost too late to really be used to have a historical context for money. I think Russia has used palladium and or platinum as money. Rhodium has never been used as money, but it's very, very rare cases. And because of their industrial uses, I consider them more as commodities.
Very precious ones. I do know, yeah, platinum was a kind of a nuisance metal back when the conquistadors were in Latin America. They couldn't get fires hot enough to burn or melt it, and it was seen as a nuisance. And then later on, it was even used to counterfeit gold coins.
Yeah, that's right. And platinum also became almost an excuse, or platinum was proposed to wipe out all of our debt in 2013.
The $1 trillion platinum coin.
Yep.
I remember that. What a nonsense idea.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy. But it was a fun little thing to think about. I mean, because you think about it, I've got 1 ounce of platinum, and I thought, well, shoot, if they can do that, and and monetize our debt and pay it off, and then melt the pieces. That would be
You'd be a pretty wealthy man.
sure would. Yes, indeed.
So I noticed that you've kept it as anonymous as possible. Was that a decision that you made right off the top? You didn't want to make your face known. You wouldn't want your voice known.
Right. Yes, sir. I kind of just wanted to keep it. If people, I always joke with people, if people saw my face anyway, they would be very underwhelmed at best. Or to show too much. And a lot of people, they talk about their personal lives, and it does kind of personify them. But I think other parts of the personality, my actual personality, does come through in the videos. And I'm hoping that will be enough of a sell, so to speak. Not that I'm like trying to sell myself, but
Sure.
there's ways to interact, and we talk a lot about music. I have a love of heavy metal music. That's another reason why metal's in the name, and it's kind of and the music at the beginning. It's like
Hmm.
and there's other different things that are discussed, especially on the live streams. On the live streams, we tend to be a little bit more loose and fancy free and joke around a bit, and
I wanted to let the listeners know that we are going to have a live stream with you. I think not the next Friday. So people who will be listening to this a week from today, basically, it'll be with you, myself, and then Tyler Wall, the owner of SD Bullion. So people can come to your YouTube channel, I guess, Friday on the 18th of January.
Friday on the 18th at 6 p.m. Eastern time, we will have an interview, a precious metals bullion interview with SD Bullion, James Anderson, and then the principal. What's his name? Tyler.
Tyler Wall.
Tyler. Yes, very good.
Hmm.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun interview for sure.
Yeah, I could tell already when you have those that it's pretty awesome because you can see all the comments on the far right side and people's questions, and
Yep.
it runs the gambit, from economics all the way down to the small things like how do you ship the metal, and what's your policy for this, and why are you buying this? What do you buy, et cetera, et cetera.
It really does help bring the two, because I do find, since my time on YouTube, certain bullion companies I see have posted comments or have videos, but basically their videos are usually very short, showing the product or what have you, and there's not very many views on those. I think a lot of people don't really know that some of these bullion channels, they're there, but they don't really engage, so to speak. So I thought with this idea of precious metal bullion dealer interviews,
Hmm.
that'd be a way to really engage with the community, and by and far, I think the community has really been appreciative of the ones who have agreed to come on, and I think they will really enjoy speaking with you guys and learning more about your business. For sure.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about that. As far as your entire time you've been doing this, I would imagine there's been a couple flubs, a couple videos that maybe didn't work out. Have there been any that stand out in your mind, or anything that backfired? Possibly you said the wrong thing and you got a whole.
Oh yeah, that happens almost more times than I can count. I mean, there's time, and then you have the trolling that goes on. I have this one pet troll. His name is Alan Gold, and some members don't like that I even mention his name, but we go back and forth. I have fun with him. But there's other trolls. I've had times where that I've been actually fearful.
Mm.
And this is the first time I'm saying this, of some things that have been said, somewhat in private. But the part of being in the public sphere, you're going to have people that disagree with you about certain things, but you just have to hold fast and hold true. And I try to be as respectful as I can to people who are genuine, have genuine disagreements, even if we don't come to an agreement on a certain topic. You know, it's okay, as long as you understand, or we understand collectively, that we have a bond with precious metals, and a bond just in the fact that we're living, breathing human beings. And everybody's got things going on in their lives outside of YouTube or precious metals. And I think that's the thing that I try to keep in perspective.
Hmm.
There's some trolls and some people that say things that that are, there was this one, he didn't have a YouTube channel, but he was going around spreading all kinds of nonsense about me and other folks on other YouTube channels and just, that kind of stuff. It just, it gets old after a while reading that. Sometimes it does get to you, but as far as my own failings, and I've made mistakes, and I've owned up to, I think that's part of what you have to do. You have to be honest with yourself and with your viewers, and not let an ego at all get in the way. And I've made, like, for instance, I was very public with my prediction of gold and silver prices at the end of 2018. I said, well, something in me feels like they're going to be $20 an ounce at the end of the year for silver, and up to about $1,400 an ounce at the end of 2018 for gold. And I was wrong. And I publicly said, hey, I was wrong on that. It was just a hunch. I don't live and die by my predictions. And I also try to be as intellectually honest as I can when I talk about gold and silver. And it's one of those things where I've said things that have contradicted other things that I've said. And it just happens.
Sure. That's being human. That's being human, I suppose.
Right.
So a couple things. One time, at least one time, I've seen a couple cameos with your kitties. Do you still have kitties? Do they make the channel occasionally still?
I've had to make proof of life videos of the kitties. Yes, indeed. They're both alive and well. Well, the fat one, is having a little trouble right now. But I think that one is going to be okay. But they're both have become pretty shy when it comes to unboxing or having videos. But I do have one coming up where I was able to get the kitty in a very docile. I did not drug the kitty. I promise. Make that be known. I did not drug the kitty, but you will see a video with the Soft Teak and Cuddly Kitty Part 2, the sequel. That's the second cat. And don't you love those clever names?
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
So, of all the time that you've been collecting and stacking, have you ever run into like counterfeits or any type of fraud? I mean, I would imagine you bought from so many places and engaged with so many different people that you had to have come across it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where I don't know that I've actually bought anything that was fake sold as genuine. I guess I've been somewhat fortunate. I mean, usually the things that I bought that were fake, I knew were fake, and they were sold them to me as fake. But when I cashed out my IRA from my work was back in 2013, and it was, and I won't mention the name of the company, but I was a little fearful for a while because that was the most money I'd ever spent on precious metals, and this company was very slow to ship. And it was but they had the best prices, and it was that was a little nerve wracking. But I did test all those purchases, and they're definitely genuine. And the company, I don't even know if they're in business anymore. But
yeah, my guess is you're probably talking about Tolving.
No, I really forget the name. If you mention the name, I'll probably tell you, because I mean they didn't scam me, but I was worried, and they were. But it took gold something. I know that doesn't tell you a whole lot either, does it?
Gold Line.
Not Gold Line.
Merit Gold.
Not Merit Gold. It wasn't one of those that advertise on TV. Gold.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No big deal. So my hunch is you do at some point plan on selling some of this metal. Do you see a price point in the future, a time where you feel like, yeah, maybe that's fair value, U.S. dollars versus silver or U.S. dollars versus gold? Maybe I should start investing, or maybe you already are investing in other asset classes. Maybe there'll be a time where it will make sense for you to sell some of your collection and move into something else.
Yeah, honestly, I just don't see it. I've really, for the longest time, I've just enjoyed these metals, and I don't know, as far as other asset classes, I think you're talking about maybe other stocks or other hard assets or that type of thing.
Maybe it's, say you bought a rental home and were renting it out like cash flow real estate play or something like that.
Right. Yeah, no. And there's some people in the community that have done that and done very well at it. To me, that's a lot of work and time and energy and a lot of risk. I mean, and it's not just, you can go and buy a rental property and fix it up and do very well. But the risk of, I guess you can hire a management company to manage some of but what happens if they don't pay the rent, or what happens, that type of deal? And
sure,
what happens if something breaks down and then the taxes on it, with gold and silver, you hold it, It doesn't do anything. It doesn't react. It doesn't scream back at you. You don't have to pay taxes on it after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some beautiful designs on these pieces, with land and other asset classes. Like, again, some people that are in the YouTube silver and gold community do that. They actually invest in those other assets and do very well at it. To me, even if I was given, and no one can really promise you that anything's going to be successful, but even if it was the next best thing to a promise that I would be successful at it, I don't know that I'd want to have to stress the stress of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. For some people, it's really a question of time.
Yeah.
They only have so much free time outside the profession. They don't want to spend it doing anything else but whatever they enjoy, whatever their hobby may be, or this or that. So, to different strokes, different folks.
Exactly right. What you talking about, James? Well, but here's the thing, and thinking back to that question, I guess in a way I kind of am, in a way, investing in other asset classes, and that's YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about these, this has become literally a source of income for me now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to take it a little bit more serious, even though I joke around a lot. But and that, of course, the proceeds from which I either use to pay expenses and or buy precious metals with.
Yeah, so obviously it's become a side hustle essentially.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and it's not like you're very promotional. I do see you have your own silver round. I would presume that might be some cash flow to you if those sell.
Actually, the SalivateMetal round is maybe a little bit, but it does help some. And then there's T-shirts and some merchandising, but I don't like to over promote that stuff. It's there. I'll talk about it once in a while, but mainly it's from the ad revenue from the YouTube AdSense.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I have a donation link, and then the super chat and the live streams. And people have been, very kind to, it does help the channel, and a lot of that, especially in 2019, I'm going to be investing more money back into the channel, in some form. But there's so many different things you can do. Some of those things that people can do to better their channels or what have you. Some of those investments, in some ways, I think are kind of overly done, or the ROI really isn't there, especially for some of the stuff that I do. But the purchases that I'm going to make this year, some people really won't notice a whole lot, but there'll be some improvements that I think will be at least noticeable in some level.
Mm-hmm. And so when you look out, is there are you bullish as far as the metal? I mean, obviously 2018 didn't turn out the way you thought it might, but for the 2020s, do you feel positive about the way things are going for gold and silver?
Yeah, I am, and I'm not afraid to make predictions. I think whenever I talk about gold and silver, I try to keep it pretty even keeled, because I feel like the metals sell themselves as hedges against economic instability. But I do feel that in terms of the value, most of us in this community understand their value, and that will never change. I even posted a video that's relatively popular about how silver will never change in value, because those of us in this community understand that really it is undervalued, as well as gold to some level too. But gold probably is less undervalued because people treasure that and hold it, whereas silver, it's just as much a commodity as it is money, maybe even more a commodity in some cases. And so some people feel like silver, there's different arguments there that some feel like the price may be suppressed. And I do believe there's some natural market forces. They play a larger role, but there's also manipulation, as there is in any asset class. But I do feel that both gold and silver will go up in price this year and through the 2020s. And who knows? I can try to make a safe call and say by 2020 we might see silver hovering safely above $20 an ounce, and gold, hovering close to $1,400 an ounce. I'm wondering if, especially with what's going on with these trade deals that Trump is making, especially with China, that part of that deal might be that our dollar may be pegged down a notch or two. Donald Trump at one point in time last year talked about the dollar's too strong.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people in the financial world who look out and see all the emerging market debt and they think, well, the U.S. dollar is just going to strengthen even further. There's guys who think that the dollar could really strengthen, by another 20, 30, 40, 50% in the years to come. And if that were the case, hey, great. You know what? Most of the people listening get paid in U.S. dollars.
Right.
So you'd be able to buy more precious metals if there was one more price plunge, let's say, in the coming years.
Right.
But I think long term, we probably all agree that we're kind of getting pushed into a box here in the United States with all the debt and what the Federal Reserve's up to and what's happening in the stock market. So long term, I think holding precious metals is definitely probably for the best for most people listening. At least a prudent portion of their wealth, not all in, just a prudent 10 to 20% makes sense.
Yep. I totally agree with that. And I have nothing against people who want to dabble in the markets or, like you said, invest in other asset classes like land, things where they can make money. I'm really risk averse. So I tend to play it really safe. The only thing that I dabble with, is my work through my work, is the retirement plan through my work. That's the only thing that I mess with, and I don't even know I assume they're doing the right thing there, and I don't really know enough about them. There's so much in the stock market as far as all the different ways you can invest, money markets and stocks, bonds, trading, and all that's involved in it. It's just another thing to worry over, in my view.
Well, is there one takeaway that you want to give to the listeners before we end the podcast?
Yes. I would just encourage your viewers to I'm sure most of your viewers are already, sold on precious metals and their value, but just I think that just to enjoy them, I think that's one of the biggest things that I have learned over the years, to really just kind of enjoy the precious metals. Even if you're a hardcore stacker and you only get eagles, take an eagle out and look at it, look at the design. Look at what's behind it. Look at the history behind even a modern silver eagle. There's history behind that design on the coin, and just enjoy the precious metals, and also rest assured that you are doing the right thing. And you have power in holding these metals that no government and no other man can stop your financial success, because these precious metals will retain their value if you hold dollars, and there's nothing wrong. In fact, I tell people that they should have a savings account of fiat money in the bank in case of an emergency. But those dollars will eventually lose value, as you said, James. The Federal Reserve prints all this money, and that money will eventually, all this quantitative easing is going to come back and bite us one day, eventually. And so holding precious metals is what protects us, and it empowers us. So yes, and thank you, James, for this opportunity to be on your podcast, and I'd like to extend the multitude of gratitude to you and everyone else watching or listening.
Well, Sal, thanks so much. And listeners out there, check out SalivateMetal on YouTube and enjoy his videos. He's a lighthearted, fun visit when you go check out his videos. He seems to publish one every week, so keep an eye out for them.
Thank you.